Hello everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to talk about getting our crafty mojo back. So I don't know anyone that's immune from having a little bit of a crafty slump here and there. And so I was inspired by a comment that was left and then also questions I get via email about how do you get creative again? Well, I don't know if this will solve your problems, but we're going to talk about 5 ideas that might help to get you back in the crafty mood. All right, so let's jump into the first idea here, and that is to die cut. So I know that part of our hobby is to collect pretty things, but I know that the other part is to use them. And so if you're having a crafty slump, I say pull out some dies. I'm going to be playing with some sentiments here today, but you can also maybe have colored images with the coordinating dies that you have set aside. You can pull those out. You can also die cut shapes. You can die cut borders. Anything that you want to kind of stockpile so that when it comes time for putting cards together, you can just pull them out. So I'm going to be using my Spellbinders Platinum 6. I just did a video on this and I'm loving this machine, everybody. If you are in the market, if you have one, it cuts just like any other die cut machine. But if you're in the market and you're looking for one, I do highly recommend the Spellbinders Platinum 6. All right, so I'm going to just show you here. I'm kind of speeding up this video process because this is more about why this might help get some crafty inspiration back. There's a few reasons, and it's going to be sort of a theme throughout this video. One of the reasons is you're in your space. You have the ambiance of your crafty space that is normally where you create. And even if you can't decide on a particular design, getting in there, putting yourself in there, and also using your products, seeing what you have. Maybe you've had them locked away for a while, and actually putting your hands on them and getting to use them. That part can spark something. So right here, I just wanted to show you real quick. You can keep your dies kind of taped together and move them from cardstock to cardstock as you're doing this, if you're doing mass production. Okay, I'm going to continue on here, and I'm going to put together. Now these dies I'm particularly using. I'm not going to talk about specific products because that's not what this video is about. That stuff will be linked below in the description box. But one of the things that why I chose these particular dies is because they're multi-layered, and I just feel like that gives me an extra added oomph of fun because I'm not being super creative here, but I am pulling out some cardstock that I haven't used in a while. It's pretty, it's sparking something, right? So you kind of see where I'm going with these ideas. So another thing I want you to consider why die cutting might be helpful for you when you are trying to kind of get out of that slump is because if you are particularly die cutting sentiments, let's say, that can actually lead into another idea of what you kind of card you want to make. So right here, I'm making a hi friend card. There's also a congrats. There's thank you. There's sentiments for the holidays. So it can kind of spark ideas, right? That's really what we're trying to do. When we are in a crafty slump, we just need a spark, right? So that's idea number 1. I do get asked a lot about how I keep my stuff once I have it all mass produced. And one of the ideas that I want to share is to put them in envelopes. You can put them in drawers, whatever storage system you have, but compartmentalize them so that when it is time to assemble cards, you can just grab and go. So for this particular grouping, I'm just going to put a little white piece of cardstock in there, and I'm going to lay in my sentiments. Now, it doesn't matter if they stay straight. I'm just putting them in there. But this is an envelope I can go ahead and grab, right? So that makes it easy. All right, idea number 2 is another mass production idea is to heat emboss. So I'm going to actually keep all of those sentiments on their actual acetate. And I'm just going to put a little bit of the adhesive on the back to make it stick to my MISTI. So this is just heat embossing. As I'm showing you the video, I'm just going to talk through it. So this is the same exact concept behind the first idea, which was to die cut. When you're heat embossing, first of all, you're going to need these sentiments. I don't know how many cards, maybe it's just me, but I make a lot of heat embossed sentiments for my projects, and I always love black cardstock with white embossing. And so I can never go wrong having those on hand and ready. When you're doing sometimes mindless work in your craft space, it can actually relax you. And when we have a lack of creativity, sometimes that's due to multiple reasons, but sometimes it's stress. And so this kind of mindless activity where you don't have to think too much about it kind of removes that stress from you. Now, back to the video real quick. To remove that sticky bit, you can actually put a little bit of powder on it. You can also use Goo Gone, which is huge. And then because we're here, folks, and if you've been watching my last couple videos, I'm making that acetate one piece with this new hack. So that's annoying when they're separated. Okay, so that's pretty much idea number 2 is just another mindless activity that you can do, and that's also really productive because then you're going to have those when you need them for your cards. Okay, idea number 3 is to organize. Just label stuff. Have fun. Just pull your stuff out. This one is probably one of my most productive ways to get out of a crafty slump because what happens when I pull out my stuff and I'm organizing it. Now, when I say organizing, I'm using these envelopes. I have magnetic sheets. I remove all my magnets from the original packaging with the sticky on it, and I put them on magnet sheets, and that's so that they come on and off very easily. So when I say organize, I'm talking about putting my stamps into these pockets that I have, putting the magnetic sheets on there, labeling them, getting them easy to identify and pull out and use, right? That's what I'm talking about. And also, it's really fun to use a label. So whatever label maker you have, grab it out and start creating. So this one is the Noco. This is Bluetooth, so it attaches to the phone. You just connect it. And then I'm just going to show you here in case you have one, because I think a few of you have bought this. You're just going to pull it out and start typing in whatever it is that you want. And then you can mess around with the font and you can change that, right? So labeling. For those geeks like me who find labeling and organizing a part of the crafting hobby journey, here you go. It's the reminder to get in there and get your stuff organized. This idea always sparks some inspiration because I'm staring at my products while I'm organizing them. So yeah, that one works for me. All right, next up, I'm going to recommend that you just color. Just grab something to color. I think that is another way we have sort of a mindless therapeutic activity that takes the stress away from having to create something particular. Now, I'm showing you a bunch of these downloads. If you are already subscribed to my email list, you probably have this. But if you're not, click the link below and I'll send it to you. This is an 8-page download of images. Now, I get asked a lot what to do with these images. I'm going to pull out my color chart here that I've created. This is with the Ohuhu markers. You can find that over on my Etsy shop if that's something that you are interested in. But I am going to actually show you a bit of coloring while I talk about why this is helpful and also what to do with these downloads, because I send them out almost every month. I send out free stuff. So what would I recommend? Well, the first thing is print them out on cardstock that you like to color on. That's first, if you're going to color with them. That's always helpful. So I'm printing mine out on the Accent Opaque 80 pound, and you can see I'm using the Ohuhu markers here. So that's the first thing. You can fussy cut them, or if you have a Brother Scan and Cut or another cutting machine, you can die cut those that way. I still haven't figured out how to do that on my Cricut. I need to get on that. But that is something that you can do with those. These sentiments on the downloads, I made them black for a reason so that you can just kind of cut them out and just, it'll match pretty much any project instead of having them colored, even though you probably could print them out in black and white. So that's, kind of one of the ideas there. Now, more advanced idea is if you actually know how to make them images, remove the backgrounds, you can make cut files if you want to. So that's a little bit more advanced and above my pay grade. So you can check out YouTube for more information on how to do that. But like I said, in the description box below, you'll find a link to grab those downloads for yourself if that's something you're interested in. All right, number 5 is to play. Just play. So many of us have so many great products just hanging around waiting to be used. I say if you're in a crafty slump, pull out a mat and some ink and just have fun. Just play with your stuff. I'm going to be making some inked up backgrounds here. If you hang out with me after I go over all of the tips for Crafty Mojo, I am going to actually finish off the card, so you can hang out with me for that. But I did a video called The Crafter's Guide to Background Techniques, just in case you needed a little bit more inspiration for background techniques. But just pull out your stuff. Just have a good time. So it's fall. I'm in a fall mood. I made some backgrounds here. And I didn't have an idea for a card as I was doing this, because I'm actually using some of these ideas that I'm showing you to get me out of a creative slump. And so, but as I went along and started doing this and having fun with it, I started to feel a little bit more inspired to make something. So after I do this, I'm going to move into some stenciling techniques here, because again, I just wanted to have even more fun with these backgrounds. So once they were dry, here's a little tip. If your paste is a little dry, just add a little bit of water. I was able to add a little bit of water there, mix it up, and it smoothed it out a bit, but it was still very thick, which is okay, because in fact, I actually got a really cool look on top of my card. So I'm using a fall leaves stencil on top of this card with some moonstone embossing paste. And I just wanted to use it up, so I pulled out another background and just made a glitter card stop background. So that was very simple. No stenciling needed for that one. So then, of course, I'm going to let those dry and hang out with me, because I have one more bonus tip for you, and then I'm going to finish off this card if that's something you want to watch me do. So the bonus is take to the internet. Go to Pinterest, go to people's galleries. This one is my particular gallery of all my photos. I'll link that below if you want to check out what I've made. But just type in some keywords of things that you're looking for, and you'll see a bunch of stuff pop up. So I'm just kind of flipping through here just to show you my gallery of photos, and then also Instagram is very similar to that, except I have videos on there as well. So yeah, just have fun with it. Just go out and kind of go and pull up some of those things that you might be looking for, and that is going to spark something for you. All right, that'll do it for 5 tips with a bonus on how to get out of your crafty slump and get back to your creative mojo and get in there. Try these out, but I want to hear from you in the comment section. Help us all out. What do you do when you're in a little bit of a crafty slump? How do you get back to being creative? So put your notes in the comments, because we can all learn from each other. All right, I promised we would finish off this card, so let's get into that. Right here, I have this all dried, and look how thick that embossing paste is. And it's so fun because it's just sort of like this clear but sparkly look. So I'm just going to make a really simple card here, but I'm going to maximize this background. So I'm going to cut it into 2, and then I'm going to be able to get 2 cards with the price of 1. So this is the first look. I wanted to show you this because this is a very clean and simple look. Not what I'm going to finish with, but I wanted to show as an idea. You can keep this, put a sentiment on there, it'd be really pretty. But I'm going to instead use the watermark feature for the sticky embossing ink that I don't use enough. I'm going to reline this stencil so that now the brown cardstock is going to be continuing the look of that other side of the embossing paste stencil. I'm going to pull out my embossing paste dauber, and I'm just going to fill in all of the areas here on. Now, I could heat emboss this, which in hindsight, I was like, oh, maybe I should heat emboss that in like gold, so it really does offset, which I'm really regretting that I did not do that. I will go back and do it again. But I kept it as more of just a watermark. If you forgot, heat embossing ink or sticky ink can do that. You can just leave it, and it gives this really fun watermark look on your cards. But I'm going to, so I'm going to keep it like that. I can't stop thinking about that gold embossing now. I think that would be fantastic. Instead, I'm going to use a gold strip. It's going to give me something, a little bit of sparkle, but I'm just going to add that strip right to the side of it. I'm going to snip off those sides. I have to tell you, I had the hardest time figuring out what sentiment to use with this. Now, I couldn't really pull out, I could have, some of the sentiments I used. They didn't match because I used the holographic cardstock at the beginning of this video. But I really did have a difficult time, and I don't know if you're going to like the sentiment I chose or where I put it or what it looks like, because I was on the fence, but something about it I appreciate it because it was very not like me to do that. So we'll see what you think. So I'm going to put down my pumpkin here on some foam tape. And then I had this one in my stash, Grateful for You. I figure it fit with the fall theme. And I'm going to put that right on top of the pumpkin. Is that controversial? What do you think? I don't know. I kind of like it. Anyway, that's the video. Thanks for hanging out. I'm so glad you were here, and I hope this was helpful. I get the question a lot from all of you about how to get out of a creative slump, and so I know I'm not alone. So again, let me know in the comments down below what you think and how you get out of your crafty slump, and I will see you down in those comments below and in the next video. Bye-bye. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss more from me. And you might like these videos on the screen, so check them out.